game.
I was hoping for a real compliment there.
Exceptional caster Joshua Jat Leesman here. Now time for our fourth game of the day. Real compliment, okay? Counterlogic Gaming versus Team Dignitas is up on deck here. It's only fourth because there will be more than 5, of course. CLG, but now can take sole possession of second place. For those who are hoping for a tie, then maybe you hope that they lose. But right here, they can control second. Yeah,
and thinking about yesterday, CLG seemed more committed than ever to their 1-3-1 strategy. And it looks like it makes this game a real mismatch for Team Dignitas, because when Dignitas has been winning, it's been through team fight compositions. But we also said exactly the same thing back in week 1 when Dignitas actually beat CLG. So anything could happen here in the final game of the regular season for these teams.
Yeah, and the thing is, Team Dignitas have been turning in good early game performances. Just a matter of actually capitalizing on the end here. And they need to do this now, because right now, because Renegades won over Echo Fox, Dignitas are alone in 10th place right now. They have never ended at the bottom of the standings. They must win here to make a 3-way tie for 8th place to try to go above that here. They are for sure in the promo tournament. Now it's a matter of seeding and not getting 10th.
It's going to be a really difficult road for them. They obviously would not have expected this back in week 6 after beating TSM and heading to 4 wins, but they haven't won a single game since then. And now would be a great time to pick up another one, because it's important.
Absolutely would be a great time for Team Dignitas fans to get a win here for themselves. And Shifter admits, yes, it's been a very bumpy road for this squad. But he says that Dignitas have the pieces to be a competitive team.
It's really hard to expect, like, your team's gonna end up getting a roster swap after the first week of LCS. So I definitely didn't expect that we'd be swapping up members so quickly within a split even. Yeah, it's just been a really rough season for us. Just something about our team, like our team atmosphere is so good when we practice. We're really productive, and it's just like something on stage is not clicking. We just need to like hit that switch, and I don't know. We just need to play better.
Yeah, and I think it is important to note that they had Smitty J for those first 2 games when they did beat CLG, but then they've had Billy Boss since then. And also, to speak to Shifter, I do think some of that positive attitude comes from Kiwi kids. So they will always have a chance to just kind of pull out a win when no one else has faith in them, because they have been able to keep faith throughout the years.
Yeah, it's good to see Team Dignitas just able to sort of pick themselves back up. We've seen teams sort of doing this poorly, just completely throw in the towel and not care about their games. That is not Dignitas here. We're going to get ourselves into the game and check out the starting lineups on the process of doing that. On the blue side is Counterlogic Gaming, matching their uniforms. Darshan in the top lane, Smithy in the jungle, Huhi in mid, Stixay at AD carry, Aframu on support with Coach Zix.
Talked about the various tiebreaker scenarios here. Team Dignitas need this win to force a tie. And they are on the red side with Billy Boss in the top lane, Kirei in the jungle, Shifter, who we just heard from in the mid lane, Apollo on AD carry, Kiwi Kid, the positive support with Coach Raz.
And it's interesting because Dignitas controls 2 different tiebreakers here. If they win, it means CLG loses and ties C9. And if Dignitas win, that means they join the 3-way tie otherwise. So multiple games are actually at stake here based on this one.
Yeah, if you viewers at home, if you're trying to like schedule out your day and you want to watch all of LCS, well, if CLG wins this one, we get 1 or 2 extra games. Whereas if Team Dignitas wins this one, the total extra games kind of balloons to max 7 or max 6, which would mean some of them would actually have to be played on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens, because we are now in a champion select as Counterlogic Gaming hopes to end this split strong in second place and defend the North American Championship from last year in the summer split. Kirei's Elise is off the table, so is Darshan's Graves, and that's what he has been split pushing with when it wasn't Yasuo. So we'll have to see what he can actually pick up here. Fiora has not received too many nerfs as of 6.5. There's things scheduled for the next one, but we'll see if that ends up coming up for CLG in the top lane with Graves off the table.
Yeah, we've seen a few different strategies around Kirei's Elise. Yesterday, Team Dignitas actually favored a Corki first pick against Team Liquid and ended up having Elise picked away from them. The opportunities are not being given by CLG, though, who are banning out multiple Kirei junglers, and I'm very curious to see if Smithy finds this a good time to play Udyr, who has been banned against him ever since he played it both times in a row a couple weeks back.
Absolutely. I think every game is a good game to play Udyr if you're CLG right here on Smithy, because he's been happy to play that champion whenever it's available. And the final ban will be Twisted Fate, so that champion is up. You've got to expect them to be happy. But of course, Nidalee is up even before that. And even if Udyr is great for Smithy, that's the tier list for you.
Yeah, Nidalee is better as a jungler. Some of the strengths that Smithy would have for Udyr are just the fact that he can farm very quickly and then become a split-pushing threat. Nidalee's never going to be the same type of late-game split-pushing threat, but Nidalee will be a much faster jungle clearer, and it is a strategy that CLG has been willing to adopt ever since week 6 of this split. Prior to that time, Smithy was never really a guy who was able to take much jungle farm. but they've recommitted to that strategy and actually had some very good results from it.
As we get ourselves farther through pick and ban, the Dignitas bottom lane is grabbed right away. Bard, which is, of course, an Aftermove special as well. We'll go over to Kiwi Kid, who's also known for that one. And the Sivir picked up for Apollo. We'll see if the counters come through for CLG. Jin, of course, on the table. Stixay, I believe, would be happy to play that at some point. But Vayne, also known as a great pick against Sivir, just in the fact that once the outer turrets fall down, you can chase her forever as Vayne and kill that champion.
And Team Dignitas knows that because they played against a Vayne yesterday with Sivir Braum as their bottom lane. I think they picked it so early here mainly because they are trying to deny Afro move Bard. And I think Sivir works very well for CLG's map movement strategy, but it would still leave them open to some of the same counter picks. Although, we have some different things from CLG.
Yes, we do. So Soraka coming in here, and I don't think we've seen a lot of Sorakas since the changes in 6.5, but she is here. And I'm curious to see what the skill order will be, the item choices and whatnot. I've been hearing different things from different players. Some people will max Q first, which is the AoE slow and the self-heal. Sometimes you only get a few points, then go back to maxing the W, which is the targeted teammate heal.
Yeah.
See what it ends up being.
And when you land the Q, it applies a heal over time to yourself as well as who you're casting your W on. So with Windspeaker's Blessing, it technically gives you a longer period of armor and magic resist buffs. Yes. With that being said, though, it's not really the type of playmaking support we're used to seeing Afromu on.
No.
So that's a definite...
It's a diversion of style.
Weird choice for Afromu, yeah.
Yeah, he plays Bard and Alistar and some Braum and some Thresh and some Morgana. It's like press Q, catch an enemy champion out. Not the case now for him. Of course, picks have still continued to go through. Team Dignitas have grabbed a tank jungler in Gragas for Kirei. There is Billy Boss on the Poppy in the top lane, and that will leave Shifter the final pick in the mid lane. They will be waiting to counterpick this. CLG can counterpick the top lane. Looks like Azir comes in, as well as Gnar for Darshan.
This is so weird by CLG. I mean, as far as what they've played this split, that's three unique champions in their 18th game. Three new champions in Azir, Gnar, and Soraka that they themselves haven't played this split. And it's not like this game isn't important and they're just throwing in the towel to hide things. A win gives them a playoff bye and means they have 3 whole weeks to come up with new picks.
A loss means they play C9 instead of Team Dignitas for the chance of getting second. So, yeah, definitely no reason to toss in the towel for this one. CLG, though, hoping this is the right call for themselves. Gnar, I mean, he got 3 AD a while ago, all right? He's back up the profile a little bit here.
Yeah, he definitely got buffed a little bit. I think Shifter should play Ahri or Corki here. He played Ahri back in week 1 when they beat CLG, and Corki was their first pick yesterday and would round out the team composition very nicely.
Okay,
but
Gangplank.
Gangplank mid against the Azir.
Well, I don't think I've seen a lot of Gangplank versus Azir as a matchup overall.
Neither
so color me surprised for how this one's going to end up going. But Shifter gets still a strong mid laner for himself. We've seen Gangplank go down in priority a little bit after the nerfs that came in 6-4 and whatnot, but still a strong champion, and Shifter going to be happy to play this one here. He got every choice he wanted. There was a Varus available, all the old poke mids, Zed was up, like all these different options that we know are played against Azir. Gangplank was his choice, and now you've got, I mean, some really good engage to help your bottom lane snowball. Gragas can gank, Sivir speeds you up, GP ulti on top. They can really affect the side lanes here.
Oh yeah, Team Dignitas has a lot of opportunity to affect the side lanes as well as just find big team fights up the mid lane started by the Gangplank ultimate. And CLG actually still has the core of what they want to accomplish. Gnar can be a big split pusher, but he also has a good fallback pattern for team fights. It's not as obvious of a choice like when they've been playing Graves and Twisted Fate, because those were very specifically banned against them this game, but they're more team fight focused, yet still possible to then go for a split push backup. We'll see how it works for CLG here.
We will have to see how it goes for CLG as they look to grab sole possession of second place. If they can win here against Team Dignitas, they go open to get out of 10th. Tweet at Esports with hashtag CLG when you think they can do it, or hashtag DIGwin if you think Team Dignitas can climb out of 10th in their final game of the regular season. Here we go as picks and bans are done. The crowd's ready to go for the potentially final day of North American LCS regular season action. CLG versus Team Dignitas.
All right. Looking forward to seeing who he on Azir. I'm also very curious about this Gangplank versus Azir matchup. Like we said, we haven't seen much of it, and typically Azir does really well in just kind of farm-off matchups. That's why I think earlier Cloud9 would have been okay playing Azir into the Corki. I feel like Azir will be able to farm very easily against the Gangplank as well.
I would expect so, yeah. I don't feel like Gangplank would be that amazing of a matchup, but touching on the various things these teams are doing, Aphromoo actually did start Spell Thieves on Soraka, which was something you would never do in the old version, but now that you're spamming Q so much, you're expected to get some more triggers off of it.
Right.
But it's much, much less health regen, a lot less safety. You're actually kind of required to play a bit aggressively to even get decent gold out of this. On Soraka, who's normally the one you target.
Those are the incentivizations for the slightly reworked Soraka.
Right.
It's not just a straight buff or nerf, it's actually just a redistribution of the power. Because the rank 1 heal was hit so heavily, you are much more incentivized early on in the lane to harass. Starfall became a much more aggressive damaging spell, which also has a defensive reward if you get the aggression off, which is kind of a much different decision point than Soraka ever had. But at the end of the day, it's still Soraka. So if he gets to late game, the heals will still be rather absurd.
Definitely true. So here we go. Late invade by Team Dignitas on the top side, and that will force Gnar to run away from this side of the map. Then Italy will maybe double jungle the wolves down there, and in fact, with the early smite, that camp goes down rather rapidly. They give solo XP to Xmithie, so he should be hitting level 2 with no problems, and so far a pretty smart... Oh no, actually, he shared some of the XP with the Gnar, so right now not level 2 on Xmithie, but the invade comes in for the Gromp as well as the blue buff here, and Team Dignitas are getting roughly what they deserve.
Right, a little bit odd there that they didn't slingshot the Nidalee to level 2. That's what a lot of teams do when you're jungling the Nidalee, is you just give Nidalee the full first camp, because then once she has the level advantage on the enemy jungler, it makes invades very easy. Even so, Xmithie hits level 2 here and can go straight to red buff, smite it to get a whole bunch of health back, and be just fine.
Yeah, looks like all is going to be well for the CLG jungler here, as gold is basically tied. As we watch the rest of the moves around the map, Gragas continues to jungle, as I believe we saw Poppy walk into the top lane. So standard 3v0 starts here. We won't see too much divergence until we notice whether the teams push the waves, whether they freeze them, who gets the golden experience, and where their lanes go after the first turret goes down.
Yeah, just barely the second wave and the cannon wave reaches the turret for Team Dignitas, so they get to continue the DPS. It should be the same on CLG's side, although you can see the turret hasn't taken quite as much damage.
And they are a little bit slower, but it shouldn't be much of an issue. One nice thing about starting Spell Thief and lane swaps is you guarantee optimal gold generation, because you get the trigger, of course, off hitting a turret. Will be a lane freeze for Billy Boss's Poppy, as well as solo experience for him. CLG actually having to wait for another wave here, but it should still be totally fine. And there will be no concerns about missing or giving away gold or experience, as no one's close to absorb this extra wave that's dying to the turret.
Exactly. The main reason that CLG could be punished for this is only if Team Dignitas would have continued to shove the lane instead of freezing it. If they would have then shoved into the second turret, there would have been a time pressure on CLG to get back and get their dual lane up there, as far as having a head start on the next turret. Whereas now I don't really see the same incentivizations. The only thing, though, is that Xmithie has to back away from Gromp, because he was real low in that jungle clear. Yeah,
not quite able to clear that camp away. Doesn't mean too terribly much, though. CLG actually up 400 gold temporarily as a team. Some of that being the gigantic lead in the mid lane, plus 10 right now for Huhi over Shifter, who opted into the matchup, I must remind. And otherwise, a few more minions have been killed overall by the wait one more wave, then recall situation. So more minions have been killed in total.
I'm still a little perplexed by that Gangplank pick. It makes their team all physical damage as well, outside of some Gragas DPS. It means if Darshan doesn't go Glass Cannon, he could become a massive team fight tank. And it's not like powerful assassin or wave clear magic damage picks weren't available. Maybe they're just thinking that they really want the global ultimate from Gangplank, or they think a good fight with barrels can turn the game around at any point.
Well, that's the plan here, I suppose, for Team Dignitas. A good team-fighting mid laner, but Azir, kind of the emperor of team-fighting mid laners, really.
It's not going to win lane early, that's for sure.
It's definitely not happening so far. And even with some of the, air quotes, free CS you get from Barrels and Spectator, he's behind quite a bit here. Top lane, the 3v0 continues here, as the duo lane of CLG are sent right back up to that side. Similar situation, of course, for Team Dignitas, and we should be trading now 2 turrets for 2 in the general situation in this game. And it's just about the teams allocating resources to the best of their ability. And it's mostly the AD carry of Counterlogic Gaming getting a lot of the farm. But now, actually, Billy Boss opted into battling a 1v2 and then has to flash away.
Yeah, kind of. I think what he was trying to do there is something we saw Balls do yesterday in the lane swap. He was trying to hide behind that wall and pick up a bunch of free experience as minions died to the turret. But Aphromoo was going around the corner to check, and Billy Boss, instead of waiting for Soraka to find him, tried to heroic charge to get away, just to clear distance, I think.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if he let Soraka get a little closer and then slammed away, but he panicked once he got exhausted and just flashed away to make sure he didn't die.
Yeah, so trade a summoner is not the worst thing in the world, honestly, and Team Dignitas have been able to trade the turrets equally otherwise. We see the total gold still an 800 lead for Counter Logic Gaming. Some of that is actually now off the back of their jungler Smithy, who is, just check the actual gold income, 300 individually above Kirei.
Yeah.
Of course, more from the rest of the lanes.
That's Nidalee speed for you. He didn't even get the slingshot start in the jungle where he was sharing experience with Darshan at the very start. Kirei not able to keep pace. And then you also have to factor in that massive CS difference in the mid lane.
I want to point out, by the way, that Darshan has gone for Fervor of Battle Keystone on Gnar. Pretty much every Gnar ever in every top laner just goes Grasp. I'm just going to be a tank. We're going to trade Sustain. Screw it, split the lane. Darshan wants so badly to kill his opponent, he might actually go for an eventual like Ruin King or something and just attack speed focused, try to wear down Billy Boss quickly.
I think it's going to be some type of DPS Gnar.
Yeah.
We've seen Darshan go Frozen Mallet Gnar in the past. Frozen Mallet played with the Ruin King wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility. I've once saw Gnar go Hurricane.
Oh, wow.
Darshan could do it, technically.
It would work
Frozen
with the
Mallet
W.
Hurricane. Yeah, you get the W's applying to multiple targets at once. You never know.
You'd never know.
And Hurricane works very well with Fervor, so...
Yeah, there's synergies there if he wants to go for that squishy of a build, as unlikely as that may end up being. Tracker's Knife in for Xmithy. The same situation here for Kirei, going for their respective runic echoes and chants. So far, pretty similar here. Heavy fan vote for Team Dignitas.
All right, Team Dignitas.
Wow, CLG fans heavily slacking, but also, yeah, the underdog story. It's really funny, actually. Last night I went and looked at...
Even the fan vote is biased against CLG.
Yeah. One of the dankest memers of all time in League of Legends right now. I went and actually looked at Team Dignitas' placement history over the last like 4 or 5 years in North America. They joined the LCS as the #2 team from the Season 2 regionals. They went to Worlds back in 2012. And then Spring 2013, 3rd place regular season. And they went to 4th, then 5th, then relegation. And it's just been steadily going down for Team Dignitas, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, one of the original LCS teams.
Yeah. Kiwi Kid is the only player in North America to be on the same team in Spring 2013 as now.
And also play every game.
And yeah, played every game.
He's got a couple of streaky records go. By the way, that fan vote, one of the reasons it's so heavily slanted towards Team Dignitas is if Team Dignitas wins, Cloud9 still has a chance to get a bye. So a bunch of Cloud9 fans are all tweeting in saying #BigWin to just push the bar over in that direction.
In addition to all tiebreakers fans.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can do it right now. Still a fairly close game, but CLG are just continuing to outfarm heavily. Now 1,000 gold just from minion and monster kills. That's equal in kills otherwise and turrets otherwise. CLG just playing the map quite a bit better here. Beneficiaries primarily the Nidalee and the Azir, but flash forced. Kiwi Kid spots Smithy with his hands in the cookie jar and slaps him away.
Very true. That was a level 6 Gragas, so if Xmithy didn't clear the wall immediately, there's a chance he never would have gotten back there.
Right.
And he knew he didn't have teammates. So it sucks to burn your flash, but it sucks more to die. And Xmithy did the safe choice there.
And I think it's the right choice overall. The team now regroups into the mid lane. Shifter losing health pretty rapidly. Has to respect a lot of this. Can't wave clear much. Pops the ulti to do the rest of the work. And Counter Logic Gaming once again will choose the safe choice of walking away, not risking dying. And Shifter keeps the turret alive for this wave. But CLG are staying around.
But what about the next wave? They're trying to bring more barrels towards the mid lane as Kirei is moving up. He could technically use his Gragas ultimate to clear, so they have enough people here they can defend again. The instant that turret is left alone, though, that turret will be going down because of all the chipping who he has done in the first 10 minutes of the ring phase.
Absolutely true. Update on Aphromoo for those who care. 2 points Q, 2 points W. I'm checking back through the game right now to see which one he got to 2 points first, but I'm pretty sure he's going to max W by level 9, but 2 points in Q early.
I have seen a lot of variation, though, amongst some of the different pro players that have been playing Soraka, or ex-pro players when I look at Lemon Nation. A lot of them started, especially Adrian, started just straight maxing Q, just seeing how it would work, what would happen if you max Q by level 9. I've also seen Lemon Nation go 2 points in W and then max Q because you change the mana efficiency of the W pretty greatly between rank 1 and 2, and then you're still getting some decent benefits out of Q. The fact that he's gone 2-2 makes me think he might actually end up kind of doing the Q max with 2 points W, or it could just be because Q gets pretty good after 3 points.
His current skill letter was QWE, QWR. So he did a level 4, get 2 points Q. We'll see what he goes for in the rest of this game, of course. It's still a pretty siege-focused team. Azir's a good turret taker. Lucian's not too bad himself. And the double here from Nidalee Soraka, they might just load health bars into their teammates and keep the siege going. The old 2015 World strat, group mid, knock turrets down. Mid lane outer now actually gone. They've done that one here. So CLG now pushing the gold lead farther. Now almost 2,000 gold.
Yeah, looking pretty clean for CLG, even without getting the deaths. Yesterday, CLG almost had it too easy. They made so many good outplays at the very beginning against Energy, and then just steamrolled them from there because it was something like 6,000 gold by 7 minutes. It was something absolutely insane. Here, though, one good team fight for Team Dignitas could still turn it around, but based on the trends, they're going to need that good team fight, otherwise they're going to lose control of the game.
And we'll see that they are continuing to play the safe one as well. Spotted trying to sneak a dragon. That will be Smithy walking over. Dignitas are laning pretty well outside of the mid lane. Billy Boss actually right now ahead of Darshan. Apollo actually ahead of 6A for a bit as well. Mid lane, yes, is hemorrhaging gold, and as is any against Nidalee matchup, but Team Dignitas holding the best that they can, and honestly, fairly well overall. Against Nidalee matchup, but Team Dignitas holding the best that they can, and honestly, fairly well overall against CLG.
Yeah. And Billy Boss with the grasp would have a small laning advantage early against Darshan, for sure. Based on those items, it does look like Darshan is probably going for an early Frozen Mallet. It was his Gnar build back in 2015 when he played a lot of Gnar, so it's all making sense.
It is all making sense. AD-focused Gnar here, and right now it hasn't been doing too much for him as he stacks the Jarvan's Fist bonus health, throwing boomerangs, and Australians would be proud. He's got good form in that one as it returns to him, and he grabs it with no issues. Once again, a dragon attempt comes through by CLG.
Yeah, dangerous dragon attempt. They're thinking they can take this very quickly, and they can, but they might get caught in a fight afterwards.
TP comes in from Poppy. Smite secured. Sivir ulti popped. Huhi to knock them back so they can damage, but slides out of the dragon pit. Now an ulti in from Gangplank, buying some time, but Huhi's heal will help him saunter to safety. Magical journey around the wings, though. Darshan has to teleport in now on this one. Gnar will join the fray. A missed explosive cast. I think he expected Stickday to flash it. A lot of silence comes out from Soraka, knocks the Lucian away now. Now the hit into the wall, and First Blood comes in for Xfinity. The chase comes in, and Shifter dangerously low on health. A nice tempered fate to buy some time, but it still means CLG gets First Blood on a fight that Dignitas wanted.
Yeah, and if Dignitas wanted that fight, they sure didn't do a very good job of being decisive about it, because they slowly meandered into the Dragon Pit after it was taken and then didn't sync their ultimates up very well whatsoever. I feel like Team Dignitas should have been ulting just outside the Dragon Pit as it was still being taken and then use that time to close in. Instead, they put the Gangplank ultimate down really late. Kirei whiffs his Gangplank ultimate as well, which really hurt the initiation. It was just kind of sloppy all around, and CLG was much more coordinated, got the Dragon on top of wards, and then still gets First Blood out of the ensuing team fight. So just win-win for CLG.
Yeah, win-win for CLG. Got to feel good for this one. The win would give them control of second place and a first-round bye into the playoffs, joining Immortals with that blessing, I guess you could say. Team Dignitas hoping to climb back into this one, but in actually rare for them in the last few weeks, not having a strong early game here. Getting definitely outplayed by CLG. We can watch that fight again.
Yeah, so the teleport actually comes in on the far side of where CLG is after the Dragon has been taken, so they have a huge lead on the Bard and Poppy that's going to be flanking them here. And then they go down. They're a little bit worried about getting caught from the Bard ultimate, so CLG then sets up his Ear Soldiers, and they zone Apollo out. So Apollo can't follow in on this dive either. By the time Darshan gets here, he's actually got his full Rage Bar, so they get to turn this around on Team Dignitas pretty heavily. Billabos then has no backup because Apollo was never able to get into the fight. And thank goodness Cubic Kid landed his Bard ultimate on the approaching members at that point, otherwise it would have been even more deaths.
Would have likely been a lot more for CLG. So Dignitas limping away with their pride for now, but still 2,000 gold to the deficit, nearly 3K. And minus that dragon as well. Kirei will take down a Scuttle. That won't mean too much. I know, a nice attempt there by Xmithy, but
would have been a nice steal.
I know. It's okay. Mid lane's warded up. CLG walking back up to the top side of the map for another Rift Herald pickup. Aphromoo slowly killing it with bananas. And it loses health until Xmithy can get the killing blow, I assume. And we'll see who gets the credit.
Give it to Stixay.
All right.
To maybe go do an 80 carry shove up the top side. Xsmithy very quickly hops up, gets a pink ward into the red side jungle of Team Dignitas, and here we go. Like they're showing their hand here. I feel like CLG wants to then do a 3-man push up on the top side, and if Team Dignitas doesn't respond to this, they're going to be slow on the play because they see the Rift Herald buff in the hands of the Lucian, and they should be prepping to defend that turret.
So top lane going to be the place to be right now. You see Bard hanging around that side. Gragas heading up, you can see in the mini-map, heading up from mid lane as well. Team Dignitas do seem to be aware, but look at the warding from Counterlogic Gaming. They've got vision in this top jungle already. They can spot these rotations, potentially catch members of Team Dignitas out if they move improperly. Nice spell shield, but Piercing Light hits anyway, and Apollo losing a little bit more health for that.
Yep.
And so far the push not going to do much.
Shut down by Apollo. He was there early enough. He never let the minions hit the turret. Therefore, the Rift Herald minions had no impact. But who he's been missing for a while now, and there were suspicions that he's in that rush. Here's the Frozen Mallet Darshan being a nuisance.
And Billy Boss just stunned into the wall, taking so incredibly large amounts of damage. We'll throw a buckler and heal back up a little bit, but you can see that Darshan definitely wins that duel. And it's probably going to get only worse from there.
Yeah, it's really hard as a melee champion to close the distance on a good Gnar with the Frozen Mallet, because not only can he slow you with his boomerang, every auto attack is also going to be applying that 40% slow, and if you ever do get close to him,
hops away.
He can hop away, as long as Poppy doesn't have steadfast presence up. That's the one disclaimer we have to have here, that Billy Boss could have a world where he catches Gnar. If you're another melee champion, you almost never catch a Mallet Gnar.
Maybe a Darius E outplay, but yeah, it's like you have to pick specific examples of abilities that can interact properly and interact favorably. So, difficult situation for Billy Boss. He can at least use that W to keep Gnar from crunching into his team and maybe keep his backline safe, but 1v1 matchup definitely not great. It's a matchup CLG wanted, of course. They grabbed that Gnar for the lane matchup, and we'll see if that continues to reap rewards.
It's been an extended poke game up in the top lane here. I give the win to Team Dignitas here, actually. CLG had invaded and gotten deep vision in Team Dignitas' jungle, but I think they tipped off the play a little early by showing the Rift Herald minions all the way back below the halfway point of the lane. Because if we look at the end result, CLG took a bunch of time, Team Dignitas re-established control of the top jungle, and didn't take a single hit to the turret that CLG was trying to push.
Right.
Which is an accomplishment from a 3,000 gold deficit.
Definitely agree. So good stuff by Apollo and the rest of the crew for wave clearing and not taking too much damage. So we move on farther into this game. Alphamir was on his way towards an early Zeke's Harbinger to buff up his teammate, just staying on that tier 1 spell thieves and just building utility for now, stacking plenty of cooldown reduction. Once again, checking the build, and he is in fact still maxing W. So learn 2 points in Q, which is the damage nuke at level 4, and then he's just been maxing the heal, which will max out by 9 anyway, so you don't really lose much pacing there. And I think that is what I expect to be the future build for Soraka's, is that 2 points Q early for laning phase. Move on from there. We'll see if any other players agree as time moves on and we see more of the Soraka. Stixxay will be buffed up. About to have that 50%, maybe 100% crit chance when Soraka can buff him later on with that Zeke's. The Dignitas are now here first to play for Dragon. A couple of wards killed off, but CLG quickly gonna do some themselves.
Yeah, and maybe CLG trades the Dragon 4 push mid.
Big play on to shift the Razir, putting out so much damage and will not get saved in time by Bard. Only turns off the turret. As the Gangplank is already dead, Stixxay getting the killing blow. Mid lane still under fire. Team Dignitas have to now limp back up through the magical journey, but it's a 4v5. They are down a man.
Super aggressive play there by Huhei, and Darshan had already had position in the mid lane, so he could follow up. And I think it was Darshan that ended up taking a lot of the turret hits, which made it an easy dive for Huhei. Now it's a 5v4. They're trying to get this turret down before, I think, peeling back towards Dragon number 2.
Plenty of damage dealt. This wave will get clear, but they're basically seconds away from knocking it down the next time around. Aggressive wave clearing by CLG, and they could either choose to wait for the wave, as you mentioned, which will allow Gangplank to show up, or they can run down for Dragon and get that with almost no contest. They choose turret number 2, and it shouldn't be too hard for them, honestly. Full health, and they're whittling down Team Dignitas.
Yep. I mean, it's the Soraka and Italy power duo right here. Soraka loses health when you heal. No, you don't. Nidalee just healed you back up. The heals are even more efficient. Kind of the dream combo if you're looking for a poke combo.
So there we go. Mid lane tier 2 is gone after the nice mid lane tower dive as well. Counterlogic Gaming playing a controlled game. Few kills, but in control for most of this one. Nearly knocks down Kirei. Has to jump back over the wall and stay safe for himself. But the gold lead now nearly 5,000. Dragon number 2 cleanly on the plate. Counterlogic Gaming should not have any chance of losing this one.
None at all. Team Dignitas all recalling. Shifter's not going to be popping the Gangplank ultimate for a chance at a Miracle Steal. And yeah, CLG looking like they're gunning for that #2 seed.
Yep. Looking like their true selves. When CLG is playing on point, it looks like this. It's very rotation-based. The players all do well to excellently. You very rarely see them lose lane. Sometimes you see them win lane really hard, in the case of the mid lane here from Huhi. And then they just play for the turrets. They play for the dragons. And outside of the fact that a lane swap happened, so Dignitas got sort of 2 free turrets, there have been no neutral objectives gained by Team Dignitas at all this game.
Yeah. This is looking very, very clean. CLG trying to come together to defend that championship from last year. And if we look at the progression of their season, it has been an upward trajectory. The first half, when they played everyone once, they finished 6-3. Oh dear, Darshan.
Lots of slows. Hyper still triggering. A stun into the wall right on reaction, and that means Billy Boss won't quite die to the clock tower as Gentleman Nar did not walk far enough forward.
Billy Boss's new best friend, Cannon Minion.
Yeah,
saved his
Cannon
life.
Minion. Key rate 2.
The house is really fat, and surprisingly, the hitbox when you use that spell starts really far back. It's like, imagine a bowling ball when you're doing your backswing, and if you throw it, if something is at the back of your hand, that's going to stop the skill shot.
Yeah.
So it's not just the middle of his model, it's actually the back of his model that catches it.
Whoa, speaking of the back of his model, though, catching a whole lot of bullets. Key rate dodges away from the boomerang. Made that one happen. Darshan sadly missing kills with his Qs, but you know what? Still an advantage. Counter-Logic Gaming now 5 turrets picked up as bot lane 2-2 goes down to a nice rotation yet again.
Yep, that moves the lead to 6,000. As I was saying earlier about the upper trajectory throughout the year, if they win this game against Team Dignitas, it will mean no team in the LCS will have a winning record against CLG this split, because they would have either 1-1 or 2-0 every matchup, and their second half would also move to 7-2, which would be second only to Immortals, who had an 8-1 second half.
Yeah, and that one, of course, was CLG, so you really can't complain about what Counter-Logic Gaming has done on this back half. They've beaten most of the teams in the playoffs. Specifically, Cloud9 and Immortals, the 2 most impressive of those. And CLG may be on pace to defend that championship. And we'll see as they move on towards the playoffs. And we'll see if that ends up being with a semifinal berth here, if they can close this game out. Certainly looking solid. Team Dignitas, I guess they can be thankful that auto-relegation is no longer a thing here in 2016, but on pace to join that tournament as the 10th seed from the LCS. In a first-round matchup against Team Dragon Knights, unless they can win this and somehow get into that tiebreaker and maybe shoot for 8th or 9th.
Right, and for Team Dignitas, as they're trying to look to win this game, it's really all about getting the healers down first. They have to be able to take down Aframu and Xmithy, who, if they can be isolated away from Azir, do not have very much self-peel. So if Team Dignitas could get a really good flank around the backside and Gragas ult the Nidalee and the Soraka forward, then there's a way that they could win a fight even from this goal disadvantage. Ult them back into a good Gangplank barrel combo and some Sipper ricochets, and they've got it. Currently, they're trying to brute force up the mid lane as CLG has presence in other 2 lanes. This is a weird looking push.
It is. Dignitas grouped up, and now they found Xmithy. Can they knock him into the team? No, they cannot. Kieran never pulled the trigger on that ulti, and though the pounce gets caught out, this should be Xmithy dying. He flashes, explosive cast gets him into the wall, but he's running for dear life. Teleport coming in from Darshan to the top side, and he's able to rejoin his team. I'm surprised that Xmithy lived, but he managed to outplay the attempt. Now a knockback, gets rid of the AD carry, and he misses everything with the Shurima Shuffle.
This is the kind of fight where both people just kind of walk away and just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, no one saw that.
Nothing happened. CLG continues to have good rotations. 8,000 gold, and they're going to go to Baron now.
Yeah,
because they maneuvered their way for Dignitas to go inside their base. A lot of missed skill shots there by a lot of people.
It's okay. NA League of Legends means Baron's going to be on the table 24 minutes in, and this could be the chance for Sixta to grab that here with his team. Darshan buying time. Here comes the teleports in. Shifter and Billy Boss have joined the roster, but that's going to buy enough time.
Job.
Yeah, beautiful stuff right here. Means Baron has gone over to Counter-Logic Gaming. Now the team fight in. Billy Boss in the front side is the tank, but that Javelin hurts Kiwi Kid badly, and Uhi snags the kill. He'll snag the next one as well. Nice 2 kills picked up. Darshan lands a stun. Still staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. A triple kill for Azir, an ace for CLG, and maybe the game.
Yeah, I think that's the game, Freak. 25 minutes in, they forced the Baron. Darshan does an amazing job keeping Dignitas away, and then Team Dignitas isn't able to run away quickly enough. Lucian, Azir with Baron minions, even though these death timers are relatively short of 25 minutes, I think they're going to end.
Looking for the Nexus turrets right now, and Counter-Logic Gaming to secure 2nd place in the regular season, hoping to repeat a North American Championship in the playoffs. They've done it. They've won the game against Team Dignitas. Beautiful job.
Yeah, and that's about the fastest finish you can hope for if you're a CLG fan here, because they had a clean yet kind of slow early game. It was 2 kills to 0. Team Dignitas wasn't really giving them many opportunities. Then there was that really weird series of events where Smithy ran away from the entire Team Dignitas team for a very long time.
Yeah.
And at that point,
Baron.
it meant Baron, because Team Dignitas then got cornered into their base. CLG had a good Baron taking team because of the Nashor's Tooth Azir. And then Team Dignitas funneled in for a fight. That's the best situation from a Baron power play perspective. Get Baron ace usually means the win.
And it was a well-played fight overall. Well-played game by CLG. Controlled the whole way through. 13-5, the record they're going to end the regular season with. In second place, definitely quite solid for these guys. And they're going to be happy that they will head into playoffs with a first-round bye. It means we'll wait 3 weeks to see them. It means they get to watch their prospective opponents and see how they do battle and who will be their worthy competitors.
Yep. Cloud9 fans,
sorry, third place.
have to play in quarterfinals. They're going to have a long road. That'll be no new thing for them. CLG fans, though, they get to wait 3 weeks before they see CLG again. That means they're guaranteed to at least make it to Las Vegas for the finals, whether that's in the finals or in the third place match. And it should be all smiles for CLG, as this ties for their best ever regular season finish, because I remember the summer split last year, they were first in the regular season, tied with Team Liquid, lost that tiebreaker game, and it's second place again. So great split for CLG.
Yeah, hey, if CLG ends in second place, they end up winning the whole thing in the end of the playoffs. So we'll see if that playoff CLG comes in. Sadly for Team Dignitas, it means 10th. Their worst finish ever in the North American LCS. We'll see if they can hold on to that spot in the promo relegation tournament in the future. But for now, it's about CLG's win. It's about them securing second place. And for the perspective on that game, let's send it down to Riv, who's standing by with CLG's top laner.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by the second place Darshan. I'm living in the past right now. Great win for Counterlogic Gaming. Coming into this split, the team was changed up a little. You guys had Huhi and Stixay on the team now. How proud are you of those guys for playing so well this split and just the team coming out near the top?
I think they've been doing really well, and we've had our bad games, but I think it's been as a team. I think individually they're really good players, and we've just been improving every single game, and I'm extremely excited for the playoffs.
Well, you were also showing a few different picks here towards the end of the last few days. Is this something that CLG was kind of like, we feel comfortable, or are you trying to put that into the other team's mind that you guys have more to offer in Champion Select?
I think we definitely have a lot of things we can run. It's just about figuring out when it's the best, because everyone has champions they're really good at, and everyone has champions you can pick that are the best in the situation. And it's like trying to find that middle point where you're picking something you're really comfortable at and something that's also really strong, and we're like slowly finding our groove there.
And Darshan, final question. History repeats itself here. CLG in second place going into the postseason. You guys now have the bye, but the question is, can you repeat the results of last year?
I definitely think so. I think Immortals and Team Liquid are looking like the other strongest NA teams, but I think that if we train really hard in these next 3 weeks, we'll be able to put a really good performance and win.
Well, congrats on the win. Best of luck on defending the championship for Counterlogic Gaming. And right now we're going to throw it over to the analyst desk to break down that game.
Thank you very much, Riv. A commanding victory there, clinical victory there for CLG over Dignitas to close out their regular season in second place. So grabbing that all-important first-round bye, as you heard Darshan, very happy about that. You know, the way they did it was exactly CLG fashion. I mean, outplaying around the map. It wasn't necessarily a super bloody game. They showed that they don't need to pick fights to get a win.
And they don't need to 1-3-1 at all moments either, so you know, a little bit of versatility here. CLG showing, yes, we can use Azir as well. That's a very popular pick right now, so definitely showing they're scary going into playoffs. And now there's a long time where they get to hide everything that they're practicing, so it's going to leave a lot up in the air for the teams that do have to face CLG at playoffs.
Zyrene, talk to me about this Gnar pick, because it's yet another champ. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen Darshan play it before, but he pulls a Gnar out in the face of a Poppy with fervor, and he finds himself very successful now 1v1. I mean, I know we can't make definitive statements based on a single example, one sample size, but looked to be pretty effective against Poppy, which is one of the most prominent top lane picks in the meta so far.
Yeah, you typically see grasp for him, so the fervor was pretty much chased down. He knew he was going to get the frozen mallet and just continue to batter him down a lane. And the Poppy does have outplay potential with the steadfast presence,
right,
but that's mostly team fights and keeping him out. He was just looking to split push and then find the opportunities where he can find those engages. But he was going to beat Poppy in that melee matchup versus the range pretty much the entire game. So he was looking to leverage that, and that's what he built for as well. So I don't completely always agree with the fervor, right? I feel like it was funny because Riv called him Zion Spartan there. It's like, I'm living in the past. I'm like, oh, he's playing Gnar and Yasuo. Right. He's like, take it fervor. So he's just going with this build where it's like, oh, well, I don't need sustain. I just need to kill you and split push with these champions.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. With Gnar, you can play a kite game with Poppy and try and whittle him down. While the Steadfast Presence can interrupt the hop, Gnar, with just the speed boost from Hyper, even before he gets Frozen Mallet, you can get the speed boost from Hyper, just wait for Steadfast Presence to wear off, then use it. You play this little waiting game. As long as the jungler doesn't come and gank you, that would make it a lot more difficult.
So cool adaptation there in the face of Poppy being a popular pick. Darshan showing his hand saying, if anyone picks this in the future, I have something I'm willing to play into it quite confidently. On the flip side of things, Dignitas, just another struggle, and we kind of saw it in the video with Shifter prior to the match that it has just been a season of struggles for them, and it seems to have concluded in one as well. So they're going to have to look to make as many improvements as they can before the promotion tournament to try and hold on to their spot in the NALCS.
Yeah, second half of the split, they went 1-8. They only won a single game, and that was against TSM. And a lot of this is just the synergy, right? They had an issue where they had to throw Billy Boss in the top lane and basically teach a player from solo queue how to play professional play, and then everybody else was still trying to figure it out at the same time in terms of how they're going to mesh with Keyray and what their roles are on the team, and it doesn't look like they ever really got it all together. So coming into promotion tournament as the 10th place seed, they have to play a best of 5 that if they lose it, they're out. So they're up against TDK, which has Alex Each on it, and now it has Seraph on it as well. Sorry, not Seraph. It has they traded him for Flares.
Right.
So they have a roster that's coming together a little bit, but Dignitas, they can win that matchup, but also TDK in the current state of Dignitas does look like they could win it.
There's potential.
As well.
Regardless, they have to win 2 best of 5s. I want to push us ahead, though, now with the tiebreaker scenarios. Kobe, and I'm coming back to you since you were here at the beginning of the day for the discussion about tiebreaker
all day
scenarios.
long.
Let's end the discussion about tiebreaker scenarios with you. Looking ahead, now with this, we have 2 scenarios left. With an energy win, then we are going to have
Neither of those scenarios are 10 games maximum, so a little
Kobe's
bit
happy. All right, but, oh, you're disappointed. You wanted the 10. With an energy win, they do already hold the tiebreaker over TSM, so they would get 5th place, which means that we only have then 1 game to play between Renegades and Team Impulse for that 8th place slot. Of course, if Team Solo Mid wins, then they're going to have to play for 4th place against Team Liquid. And that'll be a 4th place matchup as well as the Renegades tip matchup. So, looking ahead, do you guys have any thoughts on whether or not we're going to have 1 or 2 matches left to play today?
I mean, as far as the possibilities of the tiebreakers that we were going to have today, the importance has dropped a little bit for these ones, as the really big ticket items of getting out of 6 was sort of removed, and then getting out of 10th has kind of been removed. So these guys are going to be jockeying for positions, but it's a little bit smaller of the positions.
Right.
As far as the actual game, TSM versus Energy, that's coming up, I think that is going to be a very close game. Both of these teams have had their struggles as a team, and coming together, and it has in large part been due to teamwork for both of them.
I think there is still kind of a race for that 4-5-6. Sorry, it's if TSM ends up.
If TSM wins, they have to tie break with Liquid with 4-5.
If they lose,
and 4-5 play each other anyway.
Yeah, if they lose though,
they get 6th.
Exactly.
So there's actually a lot on the line for TSM in the fact that they could get 6th. But you are right in that we've already lost our 2nd place matchup and we've lost our 10th place matchup. And those were 2 of the really big ones. Regardless, we've got at least one more very exciting game to play at the end of the day. Coming up, though, our regular season ends with TSM taking on Energy Esports. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.
Guys, they're doing better. Let me back right. Quickly, let me just get back off. Can I? I'm getting punched right now while they're getting Baron.
Big play onto Shifter as you're putting out so much damage and will not get saved in time by Bartle. He turns off the turret.
Keep going. I got you guys. I'm going on, guys. Go. I died. Go top, 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 top.
Counter Logic Gaming to secure second place in the regular season, hoping to repeat a North American championship in the playoffs. They've done it. They've won the game against Team Dignitas. Beautiful job.